So the project I'm about to explain is called Immunotec. And actually, before becoming a company, it was a scientific project. So that's a special part I always like to say. And the slogan is the science of living better. So keep that in mind for later, because I'll touch upon it. And as I was saying, it's a very special company because it was a science project. And after almost 20 years, a formula was discovered that they thought was so important for human health, and in fact for all living beings, that they decided to found Immunotec and turn the formula into its first product. And it still is our flagship product after all these years, and you'll understand why in just a minute. So here we can see the two, we can see the two scientists that discovered this formula. On the left is Patricia Conchavin. She's the world's first female immunologist, and in fact, she wrote the prologue for the first book on a topic of immunology, and she still is a reference after all this time. She's almost 97 years old, and she's in fact the greatest living testimony of what Immunocal does. And on the right, we have Dr. Gustavo Bonos. He was a surgeon, and he started to notice that his patients with similar profiles after similar interventions didn't recover the same. Some of them took a lot more time to fully recover, or they experienced complications, and others were back on their feet quite quickly. And the reason for this, as he came to discover, were their previous nutritional and dietary patterns. So to sum up, the way they ate before directly impacted their immune system in a very important way. So with that in mind, the pair of them teamed up, and what they found was, in a nutshell, a precursor for glutathione. So I don't know if you've ever heard of glutathione. I certainly had no clue when I first saw this same presentation, which I found very strange, to say the least, because it's so important for our health. And I thought that with a university degree, at least came some basic information on how our bodies work, but it appears not. The glutathione is present in all of our cells, in fact, in those of every living being, and it is, after water, the most abundant molecule in our body. It is responsible for around 1,500 functions, and it is in fact so important that if we were to remove all of it right now, we would die within 2 hours. So as we can see here, our glutathione levels start at being pretty high, ideally at their maximum, although some babies nowadays already have lower levels. And with age, these levels start declining until they reach 0, and then we die. So in fact, glutathione is also called the molecule of life for this reason. The graphic would be really an idealized version of reality, because nowadays we have many factors that deplete our glutathione levels beyond what we had before, beyond what our body is prepared for, and some of which we can control, such as taking care of our body with proper sleep, food, exercise, emotional care. So far, so good. But there are also a plethora of other factors that are completely beyond our control, such as the high levels of radiations we are exposed to every day, Wi-Fi, screens, also pollution, contamination we have in the air we breathe, the water we drink and bathe with, and even our food. It doesn't have the same nutritional density than only maybe 100 years before. So I will give the same example. Imagine my grandfather eating a broccoli. For us to have the same nutritional benefits, we would have to take 4 or 5, and so on. So really, it's quite important to aid our bodies in thriving in this hostile environment that our planet has become. Okay, in this slide, we come to understand how our body creates the glutathione necessary for its survival. So first, it's very important to note that it has to be synthesized from within the cell. It is of no use on the outside, because it cannot penetrate the cellular membrane since it's too large. So for the cells to produce glutathione, they need to take these 3 ingredients you see here on the left. They are glycine, glutamic acid, and cysteine. And of the 2 first ones, we really don't have any need to supplement them. They are readily available in our food. But cysteine is called the limiting factor, since it has 2 peculiarities. First, it's very sensitive to heat. and second to high pH values. So let's imagine we eat that broccoli I was talking about before. All of its available cysteine will be oxidized and decomposed while traveling through my digestive tract, because in there we'll be exposed to heat and acid. And even if I were to eat it raw, I wouldn't be able to have more than maybe 5% arrive to my cells intact. Sorry, my youngest is screaming. So, which means that it's very little left to build glutathione with, right? So this was the scientific discovery that was made. They found a way to protect the cysteine within a larger protein string, to have it arrive almost intact in approximately 95% to our cells. So that's a huge difference. And now let's see what does our body do and our cells do with all that glutathione. So as I said before, we can use it for over 1,500 bodily functions. It's that important for our health. But I'm only going to talk very briefly about 4 of the most widely known functions, because I think they gave a good overview of what it does. But if you're interested in delving deeper into this subject, you can read the almost 190,000 studies that have been done on glutathione. So the first function is to regulate our immune system. So really, nowadays we see a lot of people with allergies or food intolerances and even, autoimmune diseases. And they all have something in common, which is low glutathione levels. So when we raise the glutathione levels, our body is again able to distinguish between what is coming from the outside and what is ours, right? So it's very important to say that it regulates our immune system and not that it decreases or activates it. Because some people, they take immunosuppressing medication and they say, maybe I don't have to take this because my immune system will be very high. That's not the case. It's just regulating it to its optimum level. The second function is detoxification. So thanks to glutathione, our body is able to cleanse itself from the inside out. And it cleanses what comes from the outside, all the toxicity, but also for just the, just because we are living and our cells are being used, it also creates residues or toxicity that has to be cleaned. So both of those are what glutathione does. And also another thing that's very interesting is that it's able to eliminate heavy metals, which is very difficult to do. And glutathione actually is able to capture those heavy metals and take it outside of the body. So the third one has to do with protecting the mitochondria in our cells from overheating. So the mitochondria are like our batteries in the cells, and while they are doing their function, they get very heated, and glutathione protects it so that our cells can function normally for longer. So really, glutathione ensures that we have higher and more sustained energy levels throughout the day. And we feel like when we were kids, we have the same energy levels. It doesn't matter if it's, 10 in the morning or 5 p.m. We are just awake, we are just present and vital. And it's a very different feeling from when you take, 4 coffees, right? So the last function is the antioxidant function. So glutathione, this is the function it's best known for. Glutathione is the master antioxidant. So of all the antioxidants that are in the world, I think there are 2,000, more or less. This is the only one our body creates, so it's ours. And we need glutathione within the cell to make all the other antioxidants work. Without it, they don't work properly. That is very important. That's why it's called a master antioxidant. It's like the key that opens up the door for all the others. I think that's it. So up until now, I've been talking about the blue box, which is the regular Immunocal. It's just one ingredient. It's an undenatured whey protein isolate. So from whey, they take like a protein string, a fraction of it, and that will be Immunocal. It's very, very similar to breast milk, human milk, almost identical. And it's very rich in cysteine, obviously, but it's also a complete food. So it has all the essential amino acids that we need. But the most interesting thing is that it's a precursor of glutathione, and it's suitable for all living beings. So you can give this to your cat, your dog, your plants. Every living being can benefit from it, because every living being is on this planet and suffers the same toxicity that we were talking about before. And also babies can take it, pregnant women, or during breastfeeding. So that's the blue box. And then afterwards, I think 10 years later, there came another formula, which is the same base, but they added some extras to improve some function. So it has the same benefits as glutathione, but also it helps regulate our pH levels and also inflammation in our body. So that's really interesting, especially for people that are athletes. Sorry, that are athletes, or maybe if you've had a low immune system, you've had some physical health issues. It's very interesting to take platinum. So that's what it does. And then we have the sport version, which came out later. I think it's been around for 2 years now. And even though it says sport, it's not only for people that are doing sport, not only for athletes, because it has a precursor for nitric oxide. And this helps your body in improving blood flow. And that helps in cleaning yourself. So all nutrients become available sooner and everything gets like accelerated, right? It also enhances performance and it reduces muscle soreness. So it also has something that it doesn't stay here, but I think it's interesting. It helps your body in creating melatonin, so your sleep improves as well. Yeah. Well, this is like an example, because there are many more of athletes taking Immunocal. It's really interesting. We have some Olympic athletes, and I always like to say that they don't decide for themselves what they are going to take, because all of their supplementation has to be approved by a panel of doctors and nutritionists, etc. And they all have to say yes to the supplement. So like Chanel Price doesn't say, okay, now I'm going to take whatever. No, they all have to decide and agree on the supplement. So having that many people taking it, that many Olympic athletes, really gives credibility. And then also we are the official sponsors of 2 football clubs, soccer clubs, Club America, which is like the first football club in Mexico, and also Inter Miami, which is where Messi is playing right now. And what else? And also we have an alliance with Real Madrid. We have a foundation with them, and together, each with their own specialty, we are improving health in children that are immune deprived. So this is also very interesting. Okay, this is like the summary of everything that's backing up Immunocal on a scientific level. So this slide really shows how much research and scientific backup there is. There are many independent institutions studying Immunocal. For instance, McGill University, but also Pasteur, Institute Pasteur, Harvard. And now, since I think a few months, we also have a study going on in Vall-d'Hebron in Barcelona, which is a really renowned hospital. We have 28 studies done on humans, so not on rats, not in vitro, but on humans, double-blind studies. We are supported by 2 globally recognized scientists. On the one hand, we see Dr. Jimmy Gottman. He's the head of science department of Immunotec. And before that, he has dedicated his whole life to studying glutathione. He has wrote, I don't know, like 12 books, a lot of books on glutathione. I have one right here. I have the English version. I don't know if you can see it. It's all blurry. But he's a really renowned author and scientist regarding glutathione, and he decided to be a part of Immunotec because he saw that this is the best precursor available, because it's the only one in existence that really uses the natural way of elevating our glutathione levels, which is through our food. Another scientist backing Immunocal is Dr. Luc Montagnier. He's the scientist that discovered 8 In 2008, he was a Nobel Prize winner, and he wrote a book which is called Oxidative Stress in Cancer, AIDS, and Neurodegenerative Diseases. And in this book, he dedicates a whole chapter to Immunocal as a finished product. That's really important. He didn't write about glutathione. He wrote about Immunocal. So he studied with it, and his findings can be read about in this chapter. And he didn't have anything to do with Immunotec. That's really important as well. So there are almost 50 years of scientific research backing Immunocal right now. A lot more than most of the drugs you can buy anywhere. And it's also included in medical reference books, both of the USA and Canada, the PDR and CPS, for over 20 years now. And there are more than 80 patents on Immunocal as well. So it's really mind-blowing, a really large amount. So the last one, as it says here, was for autism. There are on cancer as well. You can read them. They are published, and you can read them. And also, if you find this interesting, you can look everything up on PubMed. So this is like the reference, the library reference for all doctors. They go to PubMed. Well, if you want to, you can look it up right there. Okay, and this is the last slide about Immunocal. We also have a lot of, how to say this, stamps? That's not a word, but I hope you can understand. So certificate, yes, that's the one. So we have a lot of certificates that say that this is a very good product, that it's healthy and safe. So we have the grass, which is generally recognized as safe. And we have this one without any exceptions. Usually they say, well, most of the people can take it, but not these are those. In this case, everyone can take it. There's only one type of people that cannot take Immunocal, and that is someone who is allergic, not intolerant, but allergic to this specific milk protein. If not, if you're intolerant, there's no problem. And if you are allergic, like you have to go to the hospital because, you have a really severe reaction, then you shouldn't take it. All of the other people in the world can take it. Okay, so another one I really like to talk about is clean label, because it certifies that what we eat, what we take, is 100% clean. So most of the people are familiar with eco or bio certificates, but they only really state that the first material is clean, but not what you put into your mouth, right? So clean label says, okay, what you put into your mouth is free from pesticide, toxicity, genetically modified organisms, etc. So it's really, really strict. So if they find just one case of Immunocal not being 100% clean, they take away the certificate. So it's really strict. And yeah, I think that's it. So now I'm going to talk about how you can be a part of this professionally. If you think this is interesting, if you think this is valuable information, then you can also be a voice for Immunotec. So the same that I'm doing right now, hopefully a little better in your native tongue. Right? But you can do this as well. And then, yes, you can be a part of this. So I really always like to explain my testimonial. I'm a mom of 3 small children. I'm a psychologist. I also do family constellations. And 11 years ago, when I became pregnant with my first child, I thought, okay, I really want to be present for her. I want to be there throughout all these first years. I don't want to go anywhere. So this is where I started. I started up a small company. We, with a friend of mine, we started a company for water purifiers online. And yeah, it went okay. I did it for almost 8 years. But really quickly, I came to realize that it wasn't from home, which I really hoped for, because I had to go somewhere physically to do the shipments and to, receive all the stock. And it was really a whole to-do. I had to take my baby on my back while receiving it. It wasn't that great as I thought initially. So when this came into my life, it was one of those magical moments that something within me said, yes. I didn't really understand everything about the glutathione, but I thought it was so interesting, and it really like clicked for me, because I've always been so focused on well-being from an emotional point of view, from, a systemic, even spiritual, but I never touched upon the physical part, which I thought was really interesting to also take into account. And something else that really clicked for me was the slogan, which I talked about before, the science of living better, because it's not the science of being healthy, which for me was really important to separate. I think that health is like our most important pillar of our life, but once we have it, you also need resources and time to really, get the most of our life. And here I thought, this is the way to have everything, and also to help other people have everything. So here you can be also abundant and help other people do it. So this is what I'm going to talk about right now. This is a summary of the enterprise. It's called, like I said, Immunotec. It's present right now in 15 countries. Thanks to especially Mauricio Durán, which is our current CEO. Up until 2017, we were only present in like 5 countries or something like that, because the company was founded by scientists, and they really didn't have a lot of experience with this sort of entrepreneurial thing. So this is where Mauricio Durán came in. He saw all the potential of the product. He thought, this is so big, so great, and it's only in 4 or 5 countries. We have to help expand this. So he became our CEO, and thanks to him, we've opened up a lot of countries. Now we're in 15, but this same year we will open in Austria as well, Germany and France. So we're really excited about that. And it's just like the tip of the iceberg, because 18 countries is still nothing. We are going to be open in 100 countries in a few years, I'm certain. So some interesting facts. The first one I really like to mention is that every country has their own offices. So you can physically visit. You can go to Madrid and get to know our corporate staff. They are super nice, and they are always there to help you. Even like at 12 o'clock at night, I can send them a WhatsApp and I get an answer, which I sometimes get a bit ashamed, but that's really nice. And another thing that I really like is that every country has their own, how do you say this? Almacén, storage. Yes. So if you buy something from within Spain, you get the product from within Spain, which is also nice because you get it really, really quickly and without hassle. And even here in Spain, they opened up one in Canarias, which is really rare. Almost no company does that. When you are in Canarias, you can get the shipment from there as well. So yeah, that's really nice. Okay, so this slide is to explain the 2 types of income there are in the world. On the one hand, we have the linear income, which is what 80% of the people has or does, which is really sad for me. And it's pretty much, it goes like this. So I have an hour in my day, and I put a price on that hour, just my time, and I exchange it for money. So everything depends on the time I'm spending working, and then I get an income. So there are 2 sectors here, 2 groups, which are, or I am an employee or I am self-employed, but it's really the same. So I've been on both sides. When you're an employee, you have a fixed time. You have to work for 8 to 12 hours a day for 30, 40 years, and then you get to retire. Yay. But what happens when you retire? There is still that same limit, because even though you don't have to exchange your time, still the state will say, okay, so now until you die, you will have this income, and then that's it. There's nothing left to do, right? And if you're self-employed, it's the same thing, but just you have a flexible hour, and sometimes it's even worse, really. So I always say, I don't think that my generation will get to that retirement, but even if I did, I wouldn't be very excited about that. Because for me, it's very important to be free and to spend my time and my life the way I see fit. So I was really interested in the other side of this table, which is the residual income. Okay, so in the residual income, you create something. There's something that becomes an active for you, and it it helps you get money. So instead of exchanging my time, I have something that gets me money. There are, again, two like blocks in here, two, how do you say this? Well, two ways. On the one hand, you can find artists here that maybe, I don't know, I'm a novelist and I create a book, and every time that someone buys that book, I get some income. That's nice. You have created something, you spend your time on something that now always gets you an income, right? Or I'm a great songwriter, I'm Shakira, and like that. Okay, but I need a lot of talent for that, and also being in the right place at the right time. So it's not for everyone. And then we have the other side, which are traditionally people that have a large previous capital to spend, right? I don't know, I have millions, and now I'm going to build an enterprise, and just let's see how it goes. If it goes well, I can make more money. If it doesn't go well, okay, doesn't matter, because I have that money to spend, right? But most of the people don't have that large amount of capital previously. So yeah, if you don't have that talent, you don't have that amount of money, you cannot have access to the residual income, which is where these type of companies come into play. This is a network marketing company, which means that what I do is create a team of people that do the same as myself, which is really being the voice of this company, right? So I'm doing a presentation now. I may be spending an hour of my day, but if I have 50 people in my team that do exactly the same, then 50 hours in a day, my company is open, which would be impossible to do for myself, which is really why this works so well. You don't have a big risk, you don't have to pay a lot of money, and you don't have to have a super talent. Everyone can do this, right? It's really easy. There are a few easy steps, and yeah, it's really beautiful to do as well. So this is what we can do in Immunotec. Oh, sorry, and I forgot to say, of course, you have flexible hours. Everyone is a volunteer here. No one's like a superior of someone else. And you can spend the time as you see fit. And you are just, every time you dedicate a little bit of time to this, you are building your company. So in 2 to 5 years, you can be financially free. It's not the same as being retired because your income can grow while being financially free. But you are free in the sense that I always compare this to when you have small children. Well, when you at first have a team, you dedicate a lot of time, a lot of love, and the team is growing and it's growing up. And then it has their own team, which also grows up. And then there comes a time when you are like a grandmother and you don't really need to be present for them, and you can just watch them thrive. And that's what we are doing here. Okay, so in Immunotec, how do we get to become part of this project? Well, it's very easy. You only have to follow 2 steps. The first one is purchasing the franchise, which only costs 36 euros. It also depends on the country you're in, but more or less, it's very little. I always say when I built my company, I spent 3,006 euros, and I only had like the right to start it. I didn't have anything. I didn't have the website. I didn't have stock. I didn't have my storage room. I didn't have anything. For 36 euros, you have your enterprise already in all of the countries Immunotec is in. And we go hand in hand with Immunotec in that way. So when Immunotec opens up a country, we open up our business in that country as well. And also we have the website already. So we have everything we need to start our business for 36 euros. It's really nothing. And then the second step is to purchase our first stock, which is an offer the company gives us. It's only available the first time, and it gives us the best price per box. These are not all the options that are available, but there are too many, and they didn't fit on the page. But it's just as an example. When I started this, there were only 2 options available, and I went with the 7 boxes. But okay, so while I was listening to the presentation, many people came into my mind that would benefit enormously from elevating their glutathione level. And I thought, why not share this from the start with them? Because I didn't need 7 boxes. I didn't have any health issues, or so I thought. That's a story for another time. But I thought I was already on the maximum, optimum health. So I thought, why not share this with more people? So I called my mom, I called my brother, who had Crohn's syndrome. And I called some friends, and then we all bought this together. I said, I don't know if this works, but I want to try it. I'm really curious. And from there came my first clients, my first teammates or consultants. So it's a really nice way to share it if you want to do that. If not, you can just keep the boxes and you will thank yourself later for all the health improvements you will have. Okay, so now let's talk about how Immunotec compensates us for doing this wonderful labor of love. So there are really two ways. The first one is to, the same as everyone always knows, is to have clients. So if someone says, okay, I want to try a box with you, fine. You will give them assessment, you will help them have the best experience, and Immunotec compensates you with giving you a commission for everything, every box they buy. Okay, so let's say instead of 2 clients, you have 4 clients that same month. Then there's also some extras you can have, like a bonus, right? But the most important and the most interesting thing, which has to do with the residual income, is building up your team, because this really gives you that freedom that we were talking about before, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about right now, the 4 next slides. Okay, so the first bonus you can have, which is especially important when you start, is, I don't know how it's called in English, like the builder bonus or something like that. Really, it's just when someone says, okay, I want to do this with you. I really like this. This is my mission. And they sign up to be part of your team. You will get a commission for the kit, the starter kit they have decided upon. So it's 10% for 1 person, 2% for 2, 2% not, 15% for 2, and 25% for 3 people. So from the 3rd person on, you will get 25% of everybody's kit, everything that they decided upon, right? So here it says 5, but it's really an infinite number. It's not like you only get this for 5 people. And I like this slide because it's like my example. The first month, 5 people joined my team. And I thought, okay, this is great because in the first month, I'm earning money, which is really difficult to do. When you start a business, you usually take like a year to gain everything back and break even. But I got to do it like in a month. And I already gained money because since I shared my boxes, I didn't spend even that much. So that was the point where I said, okay, I'm not going anywhere. This is great. So that's the first bonus. Okay, these are the commissions. I always like to call this the butterfly effect slide, because let's say I'm in the middle, right? I'm the person on the white circle, and I'm explaining this to my mom, and she says, wow, this is great. I've had a great experience. I want to say, tell this to my, my neighbor or a friend of mine. So my mom and I, we share a social circle, but also she knows a lot of people I don't know. So already I'm starting to see that people can join my team that I don't know. I would have never reached if it weren't for my mom, right? So now through my mom, new people arrive on the blue circle, and they also start explaining this to their social circle. And so my team starts growing and growing and growing, and there comes a time and a point that someone in Peru tells about Immunocal to their neighbor, and now she's giving it to her daughter who has autism. And I think that's so magical because I didn't know anyone in Peru. And I just think, wow, thanks to a decision I made almost 3 years ago, now a child in Peru is benefiting from Immunocal, which is really everything that we are doing here, right? To give voice to this and have everyone in the world know about it. So I think that's very beautiful. And specifically, the commissions come from this. So every box that is sold in my team, so that's important. Everything from me onward, I get a small commission for. And all of these people are linked to me forever because it's thanks to me that they came to know this project. Okay, so now we're going to talk about ranks. Ranks are really just titles that the company gives us, and they have to do with building your team. So the larger your team, the larger the rank, right? So we start off being associate, which is when we have our starter kit. And although there's nothing below this column, you can still have economical benefits from this, right? So, oh, ¿me puedes ayudar tú, Aru? I didn't buy pan si quieres. Sorry. I'm at home alone with my three, so it's okay. So yeah, you can still benefit from it economically. Let's say that I invite my mom and she invites her neighbor. I'm not a silver rank yet, but I can still benefit from whatever my mom purchases or a neighbor, right? So now let's say that I have 3 people in my team. That gives me a silver rank already. It's really easy. 3 people. Who doesn't know 3 people that can benefit from Immunocal? So with 3 people, I'm a silver rank. And this will give me between 200 and 400 euros a month, approx. It can be also more, it can be a little less. It depends on everything we are explaining because everything sums up. But yeah, to give ourselves an idea. And the interesting thing is that some people only come to Immunotec because they want to buy Immunocal and have it for free. So this will be the point where someone says, okay, I can have my boxes for free because 200, 400 a month, this is my purchase, right? And that's fair. You can just stop here and say, okay, I'm happy with it, right? But if you really feel that we are meant to live abundantly and prosperity is part of our life path, then you can also continue this and help your people become a silver rank. And really, it could be for the same motives. Maybe the people you are working with only want to have their Immunocal for free. That's fine. You can help them become silver and then you become gold. In gold, you are in between 800 to 2,000 a month. And yeah, this is already like in Spain, you can live on that, from that. So there are many people that maybe are working in jobs that they don't find meaning in, that are not aligned with their mission in life. Yeah. So if you get to the goal, this is like a breaking point for you. You can say, okay, maybe I want to let go of that job and just, do something that I really love or is like my mission in life, or be more dedicated to Immunotec. You can do that. So this really quickly. Okay, so from then on until the end, we will always do the same. We will help our team get the same results as we have. And so we get to go up the ranking, right? So in Diamond, you gain between 3,000 and 6,000 euros. In Executive Diamond, 8,000 to 14,000. Platinum, you get 15,000 to 20,000. And Principal Platinum, they don't even say it because it's really infinite, because you can always grow more and more and more, right, your team. The interesting thing I always like to mention as well is that the person that was helping me at the start is in Principal Platinum right now. So she's gaining like 50,000 euros a month. And she's still here. She's still like, even though she's like the great grandmother right now, but she's still here because she really loves this. Once you have health and wealth and time, then you really start to resonate with what we are doing here, and you don't want to let go of it. So many platinums are still here. They are in events, they are helping us in workshops and through WhatsApps, and I think that's so beautiful. And really anyway, it doesn't matter. I think that's so beautiful. In the end. Okay, so these 2 bonus I'm going to talk about, they are like extras. Every time you get to a rank, every time you get to a rank, Immunocal celebrates you and gives you a bonus. So when you get to silver rank, you get 135 euros just for reaching your rank. It's an extra. Okay, everything you see in red, you will always get. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. If it takes you 10 years to get to gold, it doesn't matter. You still get the 400 euros. But also, you can do it in a time that Immunotec proposes to you, and then you can, okay, lekker eten. And then you get the bonus that you see in white, so 135 extra for silver, 400 more for gold, etc. So that's also an interesting thing. Okay, this is the last one. This is for helping your team advance. Okay, this is for helping your team advance. So every time that someone in your team gets to another rank from gold on, you get a bonus, which is the same as before. Everything you see in purple you will always get it. Doesn't matter how long it takes them. For instance, when my friend, the first one that joined my team, got to the gold rank, she received her bonus of 400 euros, and I received the bonus of 200 for having helped her get there, right? So it's the same. And again, what you see in white, you can get as another extra on top of it if you get to do it in the times that they propose. Anna, kun je alsjeblieft Udai helpen, want ik ben in de Zoom. Even weer tegen Hans. Sorry. So yeah, oh, I'm done. Yeah, and this is the last slide. Sorry. So every year, Immunotec wants to celebrate us by giving us an incentive trip. Up until now, it was always just one. But from this year, just like last month, we got the announcement that we will have two. We are going to break. So there's one on the Europe level, and then you have a global incentive trip. These photos are from the first one I went to. You can see me on the bottom left with my smallest. Yeah, that's Uday, who was just interrupting me because he wanted bread. And he was just 1 year old, and we went to Mexico, and yeah, it was super, super, super nice. Not because it was luxurious, which it also was, but because first off, I felt very protected, very like the company went out of its way to give me the best timetables with the train and everything for my baby. And then also because there were many people I had only the pleasure of meeting through Zoom, and there I could meet them personally and give them a hug. It was just very nice. So yeah, this is like the cherry on the top. That's it.